All right, Jenks, let's start with the early game. 4:08 Eastern start for Mariners and Tigers. This series is tied at 1 game apiece. The Mariners are favored in this one on the road, at -130. Tigers +110. Total of 7.5 runs. Logan Gilbert squaring off with Jack Flaherty. So, Jenks, we have not been one to trust Jack Flaherty.
Oh,
But
no
what's the play
thanks.
here? Do you trust the Mariners?
I think if I'm playing this game, I kind of like the over, but I would trust the Mariners more than I would the Tigers. I mean, Logan Gilbert, even though he hasn't been great on the road this season, he's actually been very solid over his last 5 starts. And Seattle is a good over team on the road. They tend to generate runs. And also, let's break this down to brass tacks. If you're looking at this pitching matchup, is it your first inclination to say, oh, I'm trusting Logan Gilbert instead of Jack Flaherty? Jack Flaherty's been just fine. But he's, 3 in the rotation. You know, he's not that ace that the Tigers thought he was going to be when he was drafted. And for me, when you've got an ERA of 4.64 and you have the propensity to get blown up from time to time against this Mariners lineup, and I like the Mariners playing away from Seattle because that's such a pitcher's park, then I would go Mariners. It's a pretty cheap price at -130 here. I just don't believe in the Tigers. Okay, fine. You know, you got past the Guardians and you got a game here, but ultimately I still don't believe in Detroit.
I think it's tough because both these games have been really low scoring. In fact, both of them had final scores of 3-2. The Tigers winning the first game 3-2, and then game 2 it was the Mariners that won 3-2 on the late game heroics of Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh, who I believe was on second and scored the winning run. But I think maybe this one has a different feel to it. Like, I know you mentioned the over, but maybe the sabotage factor is that we do have one game in which Jack Flaherty pitched against the Mariners, 2 earned runs over 5 innings and 7 strikeouts. Again, it's only one sample size. It's only one game. And I would say that I'm not going to be shocked if the Mariners score some runs off Flaherty here, but maybe that's your sabotage factor for the over. And plus, I feel like both these bullpens have been better. Like, again, both the final scores were 3-2. But at some point, I do think at least the Mariners side of things, at least that side of the lineup, I do think has a breakout game at some point. I'm not sure if I trust the Tigers, though, to carry the load offensively speaking, because, Jenks, this was the problem against the Guardians. It was the Tigers lineup that really had trouble generating runs, and Logan Gilbert is a solid pitcher.
I think that's the issue. Man, I'm gone back and forth. I'm either going to play the over or maybe the Mariners here. This opened at minus. All right, it's kind of sitting the same. We've seen a little money come in on Seattle. But I just ultimately, even if I want to go Detroit here, like, are they going to generate the runs? That's just what it comes down to. This is a team that, and they did early in the season, right? Like, this was a team that early in the season, their bats were red hot, and they just dropped off the face, which is why they gave up that 15.5 game lead in the division, because they just stopped hitting. And even going back to the Guardians-Tigers series, how many times were we on the under in that series? Because we knew nobody's going to hit in this game. So that's the one thing that gives me pause when betting on Detroit. If you're looking at the over, okay, can Detroit help us get there? Or if you're backing the Tigers, will they generate enough runs to hang with the Mariners? Detroit's that's a tough call for me.
Okay, so my next question is, would you rather bet on the Mariners today, or would you rather bet on the series price? Because it's very similar. The Mariners at -125, the Tigers +105. So you can get the Mariners today at -130. If you had to choose one of these bets, do you trust them today, or do you say, hey, over the larger sample size, even if they don't get it done today, this is a Mariners lineup that I think is the better one?
I think that's probably where I would go. I like either one, honestly. I really think they have a serious pitching advantage today. I do not trust Flaherty. And then also over the course of this series, with full disclosure, it is just a 5-game series. The Mariners just are the better team. They've had the better season. They were much better in the second half of the season. I think they've got some sort of spiritual mojo going with Cal Raleigh in the year that he's had. So if you just want a cheaper price and you can save yourself 5 cents, you can go series price at -125. But either one I like.
Yeah, I do think it's the Mariners that end up winning this series because, again, it just feels like their lineup is much more dependable, and they still have a good pitching staff. Like, Tariq Skubal can't pitch every single game for the Tigers is the problem for the Tigers.